This video is proudly sponsored by Gamersgate. Download games anytime, anywhere. Visit Gamersgate.com.
Welcome to Elder Geeks Elder Speak. Today is Wednesday, June 27th, 2012. My name is Randy Yasenchak, the editor of ElderGeek.com. On the show with me tonight is Trevor Faulkner. Trevor.
Hey,
hello.
What's up?
Yeah, everybody remembers you. You kind of took over my slot while I was doing baby things.
I usurped your position while you were weak.
Yeah. You didn't get too many negative downvotes either, so...
No. The people love me. What can I say?
Yeah. Today, we're going to keep the topic to two things. I realize that one topic is actually going to be ridiculously old, but I didn't get a chance to, speak my nerdy 2 cents about it, because since the last Elder Speak, I did the review for the headphones, the review for... I don't even remember what the hell reviews I did. I just did a ton of videos. I did a ton of videos, and I did the reskin of the website, too. Yeah. And now I'm back.
I remember I was having a bunch of difficulty getting Max Payne 3 to work on my PC, and I sent out an email seeing if anybody else was able to do the review, and you just were like, yeah, I already did it. I finished it. Let's change the diaper.
Done.
Threw up the review. I was like, all right, cool, whatever.
Done. Got it. But today let's actually talk about Final Fantasy VII. Everybody's talking about Final Fantasy VII. It's pretty much on everybody's mind. You have played Final Fantasy VII, correct?
Absolutely. I am one of the human race that has played Final Fantasy VII.
My luck, I would have invited somebody on the show tonight that didn't play it.
Is that Halo? Is that a Halo expansion?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It didn't come out in the past 5 years, so I didn't play it. But my luck would have been I would have invited somebody on the show that didn't play it. But there's a couple of bit of news items about FF7. The old one is that Final Fantasy VII Steam re-release has been leaked. Still, technically, it's a rumor. I believe that it's going to be true. I'm very excited about it. I don't know if I'm going to buy it. I don't know if I'm going to buy it again, though.
The quotation marked question mark that was inside of that that statement.
Did you ever? How many copies of Final Fantasy VII do you own?
I only own one copy. Now, my last disc failed, so I borrowed other people's discs all the time. But I only own one copy.
I think I have the original version of it, the original. I think a long time ago I also bought the greatest hits version just in case my original one broke.
Yeah.
And then you gotta have those backups, baby. And then when it re-released on PSN, I think I bought it on there too, so I could play it on my PSP and play it on my PS3 and stuff. But of course now I can't play it because my PS3 is dead. But so I think I've technically purchased the game 3 times already in the exact version that it's already in. But it's coming out again on Steam. And I don't remember. I don't know if you remember this or not, but the PC version of the game, when it originally released, it actually had a few extra spells.
Oh, I didn't know that. I know it was tragically broken a lot of the time, but I did not know that there were extra spells.
Yeah, a lot of people were actually complaining about it was tragically broken and stuff, but from the people that I knew that played the game on PC, that it wasn't a broken experience for them. It had. Of course, it was higher resolution because the PS1 was 480i or something like that if you were lucky, and it was obviously higher resolution. It ran on Windows 95, I think.
Sounds accurate, I guess. Yeah.
And so there was extra. Yeah, so there was extra spells for it, and I think there was even an extra weapon. You remember the giant bosses in that game were known as weapon?
Yeah.
I think there was an additional weapon in that. So it'll be exciting for it to come out on PC again, because then people will be able to experience the quote-unquote high-definition version of Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, and I can only assume that at the point we're at in time, there are people who have not played it, who might want to, and will finally get the chance to do it on a preferable medium, because a lot of the PS3s that are out nowadays, which is the only other way to play it, won't read the discs, so you have to buy it on the virtual, the PlayStation Network, and
nobody would like that.
I know I have trouble playing old school games on my HD television without them looking like absolute garbage.
It's kind of like, this is not me Wii bashing or anything like that, but honestly, I think the Wii looks absolutely terrible on like 720p and 1080p screens. Sorry, it just does. But it's kind of like that.
Yeah.
So will you buy it? I'm still undecided. If they're like, hey, this is gonna be done in blazing 1080p, yeah, I'll probably pick up.
Okay, yeah. If they're saying if they remap the textures, not even like a full huge overhaul, but just they smooth things out, then yeah, I think like if they did any marginal improvement whatsoever, even the most basic one, I probably would be on board.
Yeah. Because you were actually saying that you found like a rumor about it though. Like there was a rumor that some of the DLC there was going to be like additional feature in the game that will like enable people to automatically boost their level cap and their money and everything like that.
Yeah, there's currently a rumor going around that the game is going to include a character booster. And it's undetermined whether or not it will be like an add-on, like let's say a 99-cent a la iPod, add-on, or if it'll be just a built-in feature when you purchase the game. And the idea is that if you wanted to just enjoy the story and avoid the grinding, you could just hit this character booster and it'll max out your gil, your experience, and all your stuff so that you can just stomp through the game without having to waste a lot of time.
That's stupid.
Yeah, do I
hate to be so blunt, but that's downright stupid.
It depends on the way they present it, I believe. Like, if they charge for it, then 100% I'm right behind you, Randy. Like, that is stupid, and you guys are stupid for doing it, and you should be ashamed of yourself for doing something so stupid. But, I mean, there are people out there who've beaten this game 3 or 4 times, and let's say they do, like, just marginally upgrade the textures so they're not so jagged and polygonal. I mean, if they offered this to me and I had beaten the game 4 times, I can see myself saying, like, you know what, I just want to experience everything without all the time consuming that I've done 4 times. Like, I don't want to level up for, 3 weeks to beat, like, Ruby Weapon or something. So, I'm just going to hit this button and just enjoy myself and not worry about dying. Do I think that's the right way to play? No. Do I think it's not a terrible addition? Maybe.
I don't know. I'll be sad. I was one of the people that actually, I think I beat all the weapons on my original PS1. I had to clone. You have to duplicate Knights of the Round, and you have to duplicate the mime materia as well, so all of your characters can mime. And you have to have Knights of the Round maxed out, and it also has to have an HP absorb attached to it, also maxed out. And I remember going through that hell, and I did it. I finished it, but I don't know.
And I see where you're going, and I agree with the like sentiments you're trying to say, which is the reason Final Fantasy. This may be just my opinion. Listeners can comment if they think I'm wrong, but the reason Final Fantasy VII was not my favorite story in the Final Fantasy world.
Mine neither.
Yeah, I didn't think it had the best gameplay in the Final Fantasy world. The part of Final Fantasy VII that makes me care about it so much was the level of achievement you got from things. Like racing chocobos to get... Was it the gold chocobo was the max?
There was...
Which one was
it was, it was the golden chocobo, because you had to get the black chocobo to breed the gold chocobo.
Spending, like, a long time trying to get that was a big deal to me. And, like, grinding up my materia was a big deal to me. And it was rare in my, like, adolescent life that I experienced a game that rewarded me so thoroughly for putting the time in.
Like, so it was like achievements before achievements.
Exactly.
It was an achievement that actually meant something and not just a blip on your screen.
Yeah, that was the bragging game. That was the game you did when you wanted to go to your friends and say, like, guess what I just did? I just did this. It took me 2 weeks, but I did this. Have you guys,
it took me 3 weeks, but the emerald weapon is no longer there.
Yeah, like, that was what made the game special. Like, Emo Cloud and like, all this stuff, like, that's not the legacy of Final Fantasy VII. The legacy of Final Fantasy VII is the great moments where you put in time and it actually rewarded you. It actually gave you something to feel good about.
Yeah. I agree. But this actually kind of leads into the second news topic about Final Fantasy VII. According to AndreaSang.com, Yoichi Wada the Square Enix CEO, he pretty much came forward and said that they will never ever remake Final Fantasy VII until they create another original Final Fantasy game that tops the quality of Final Fantasy VII. So Final Fantasy 15 or 16 or 17 has to be better than Final Fantasy VII before they remake Final Fantasy VII.
And that
that's
infuriates me.
I don't know if it infuriates me. It just, you know what it does? It really makes me sad. It makes me realize that, like, Square Enix just simply does not have the mojo that they did back in the 80s and 90s.
Oh,
they
absolutely
don't.
True. Absolutely true. After, I would say after, to an extent after 10. I feel like 10 was the last time I really felt anything, and I didn't even like 10 that much. 9 was my favorite.
I would say after 9. I think 10 was a
Okay.
pile of... But you know what? I would get into huge arguments with... just everybody argues with me that 10 was good, but I'm sorry, 10's crap.
It's the last one that was playable, is how I guess I would phrase it. 9 is my favorite. You said you bought Final Fantasy 7 like 5 or 6 times. I've bought 9 like 5 or 6 times. Like, that's the one I love.
I think I have that one 3 times as well.
Yeah, I have the regular, the greatest hits, yeah, and I have the PSN. So yeah, I do have it 3 times.
Yeah, that's...
It's the same way. But, yeah, like... to hear that Square Enix, all of a sudden has a conscience that, like, that, I don't know. The fact that they want to pretend that they haven't already, like, bastardized this game beyond all recognition with Dirge of Cerberus and the cell phone games and the movie and
that PSP game, which I'm really sorry was terrible, and that movie was terrible too.
Like it just, to pretend that they have not already besmirched the legacy of Final Fantasy VII is just uncalled for.
Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, but that PSP game and the movie just made Sephiroth go from, like, supervillain to just, meh, another guy that happened to have that power.
I thought the PSP one had a decent ending, if you got that far, but as a game itself, it was mediocre at best. It was better than Dirge of Cerberus, which I thought was awful, but...
I actually bought a PSP to buy that game.
Oh.
To play Crisis Core, I bought a PSP to play that game.
That's not good.
No. Yeah, and to say that I don't like it is kind of a big thing, because, like, typically when you buy a piece of hardware to play a specific game, a part of your brain kind of, like, blocks out all the negative shit that the game throws at you. And so, yeah, that didn't happen with Crisis Core. I was like, no, sorry. You are an average at best.
It has a decent ending, though. I like what they did, because the leveling up system is that silly roulette system.
Uh-huh.
But how they pieced that into the end, I thought was quite clever for what they were doing.
You know that roulette system? I totally thought I was controlling that for
seriously?
10 hours of playing that game. I remember I was commuting pretty far to work at the time, and I was like, son of a bitch, I'm not doing anything. I'm just clicking away on this D-pad, and it's not doing anything.
Yeah.
So, but no remake for Final Fantasy VII until they remake, or until they top Final Fantasy VII. And to be honest with you, Square has so much that they need to do to top Final Fantasy VII. And I'll tell you right now, a few of the things they need to stop doing is, one, they've got to stop falling back onto the super stereotypical JRPG caricatures that they themselves have created for their main characters. They got to knock off the super androgynous male. They've got to knock off the helpless female. They've got to knock off the Han Solo and his hairy sidekick kind of thing. They have to create a whole new story. Two, they really got to stop pushing these wacky ass environments of
Oh, I so agree.
If they really want to win back a ton of people that are like, holy crap, here's a Final Fantasy game that honestly is going to get it again, put it back in quote-unquote medieval times, and I guarantee you heads will turn back to Final Fantasy again.
And they can blend it too. Like, it doesn't have to be 100% traditional, like, or traditional, like Skyrim, medieval time. Like, you can blend your technology in there. I'm not going to complain. But you need to get away from floating cities and,
and glowy swords and like glowy outfits.
Summons that are also motorcycles and
Right. Exactly. You got to stop it. You just need to knock it off.
Yeah. Oh man, zippers. And so many zippers, Randy.
So many zippers and buckles. They got to quit it.
Yeah.
I could totally carry on a huge list, and I don't want people to think that I hate JRPGs because I fucking don't. I really like JRPGs.
No, it's been
just
a
that they
while
have
since
not been.
I've experienced one that has lived up to like my childhood memories of JRPGs. But that's more.
I don't even think it's your memories of childhood JRPGs. I think it's literally of the quality of the JRPGs that came out when you were younger.
I don't know. Like I would love to play, and that's a little bit why I like the Disgaea series. I know it's a tactics game, but it has not changed since the first one was released.
I could see that. Yeah, I could see that, man.
So I tend to latch onto them with some sort of lost nostalgia, which is all I really want to do for Final Fantasy is latch on with lost nostalgia. That's all I want.
See, I think people are probably like, oh, you just remember it because you were a kid when you played it, and that's why you thought the games were so great. No, dude, Final Fantasy came out with 7 when I was in college, so it's not like I was some little kid that was like, yay, Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
You know. And 9 was one of my favorite ones, and I think that one came out when I was a
I would rather them
junior or a senior year.
just remake 9. I would be happier if you just do that, or do one of the pre-6s or 6. I don't know.
Yeah. So that's my take on it. I almost don't want them to remake Final Fantasy VII, and based on this statement, I don't think they're ever gonna.
No, as long as they, like I said, I would like it if they just smooth some things out a little bit so it's playable. And then you can leave it alone. Like, you don't ever have to, like, full HD remastered, all the, characters are redone. Just smooth it out a little bit for me. And supposedly there's stuff on the internet, you can download some mods to make that happen, and that's enough. Like, I just want it to be playable.
Totally. I'm with you, man. I'm with you. I think, have we beaten the crap out of Final Fantasy VII?
Possibly.
And I don't want people to think that I hate Final Fantasy VII or Square, because I love Final Fantasy VII, and I think Square can still do it. But they're just looking in all the wrong places.
Yeah.
I think they're just, what they're trying to do is, I think they're trying to cater to the audience that they have, that they know they're not going to lose, and they're afraid to, like, cater to the audience that they used to have.
Yeah, I also think that they're so cripplingly in fear of disappointing the audience, because that would honestly be the nail in the coffin for Square Enix. I don't know, maybe they have more money than they know what to do with, but if you went back and remade everything and made it bad.
They did go back and remake everything, though. Like, Final Fantasies 1, 2, 3...
Well, no, I mean, if you go back and remake 7.
Oh,
and you make it, the
yeah.
thing that everyone's been waiting for, ever, and you do it poorly, and you make a bad game, like, you've just lost. Like,
there's no way for them to do it correctly, though.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, they can't. There is literally no way for them to be able to remake Final Fantasy VII without somebody coming out and going, the original one was better because, well, Cloud in this one, he actually didn't say anything, but then in the first one, there's those people that come out and they find stuff and they nitpick stuff, and for some unknown reason, just mobs and mobs of people follow these nitpickers.
I guarantee you, if they removed the drag sequence at the beginning of the game, people would pick up pitchforks and torches and storm.
From the Bumblebee, or what was that place called? The something bee.
Yeah, if they change that, which everyone's always said like they'd have to change that in this day and age. Like riots in the streets.
You know what's actually really interesting, and I'm sorry I'm not going to be able to throw up a link for this one, but there was somebody that like found the way to like decode the Final Fantasy VII discs, and they found like all the missing code sequences for what was going to go in for that part of Final Fantasy VII, like during the cross-dressing portion and the Tifa portion of dressed up like a hooker and everything.
Yeah.
It was really interesting. I mean, it got a lot darker than what they actually had put into the game. Yeah. But yeah. So anyway, everybody out there, go ahead and toss out your 2 cents as to what you think could possibly save the Final Fantasy franchise, if it's savable at this point. I almost kind of wonder if Final Fantasy is salvageable at this point. I wonder if just I think people are ravenous at this point, and they'll tear them apart for anything.
And we have some of the developers who've walked off to do their own games, like Last Story and stuff like that. And maybe we'll find, which is a funny pun, just Last Story Final Fantasy, but maybe we'll find what we liked about Final Fantasy there instead.
I hope so.
That's my hope.
I really do. Otherwise, I think that Square should rest Final Fantasy for a good, 7 years, 10 years before they come up with another one.
And make a new console, Kingdom Hearts, so I can be disappointed.
All right, let's move on. Let's actually talk about the second topic, which is actually the reason why I brought you on here. Mm-hmm. You wrote a book.
I most certainly did.
I mentioned it in, I think, one of the past Elder Speaks, and kind of rambled a little bit, but whatever.
You spoke very highly of me, and I was blushing like a bride. It was
as you should be. I don't pass out kudos lightly. The Last Memory. Tell me, this is your first book.
Yeah, it's the first in a trilogy. This is the first one. It actually, in Florida, it won Best Unpublished Fantasy in 2010 with the Florida Writers Association. Since then, I did a bunch of editing, fixed a lot of stuff, and then decided to self-publish it. And it is currently on Kindle and Amazon.
And it's actually getting good reviews on Amazon.
Yeah, I only have 2.
They're both positive?
Yeah, they're all positive. Every day I click and I'm like, has anybody else reviewed me? If there's any interest, which I very much hope there is, it's about a young guy who runs into a mysterious girl on a clouded street and gets pulled out of our world and put into the world that lies just behind our own. And this is the world where fairy tale creatures exist, where Bigfoot is, Loch Ness Monster, all that fun stuff. So there's a big cryptozoological background, something that I always thought was incredibly interesting when I was younger. Well, in this world, he ends up in a tangle of sorts with a group of immortal killers who, throughout time, have been responsible for every great catastrophe in human civilization. And it's a tale of it's a romance, it's a comedy, it's got action. It's a really good summer read. I have a schizophrenic werewolf in it and a living motorhome that does some stuff. It's got a lot of nice ideas. It came out really nice. I'd appreciate
it
if you
read
read it. So.
Any sex? Is it a sex book? What about sex?
There's so much sex. Okay, maybe I'm lacking in sex. Maybe. I always said, if you like Neil Gaiman, if you like Sandman or American Gods, you'll like it. It's a little bit of Dresden Files, kind of. A little bit lighthearted, more lighthearted than that, because Dresden Files tends to get dark. But a lot of love in that, and I'm basically only trying to make enough money to afford to get the second one professionally edited. So
I'm actually looking right now. Are there any hard copies left? Because I'm actually on Amazon right now looking at it, and it's only giving me the option to do the Kindle price for $10.
There should be. I'm going to talk slowly so that I can look and make sure.
But the point is, people can actually get it on Kindle. They can.
Yeah, paperback is up there. I can see it right here. You can go on Amazon.com. You can download a sample. The process was grueling. I put a lot of my heart in it. If you've read any of my articles on Elder Geek, you kind of know how my voice sounds when I write. And I walked into this, and this is me going to be emo for like 1 minute, but I walked into this whole thing. I didn't want to be famous. I didn't want to, turn this into my career. I just had a story I really wanted to tell. And that's what this is. This is me for the better part of a year and a half sitting down and telling a story that I couldn't stop thinking about.
That's pretty cool, man.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. And how long did it take you to write the whole thing? Like start to finish? Like when did you officially sit down and start writing?
Do you want me to include editing? Editing it myself and re-editing?
Yeah, I mean, because that's part of the process.
Yeah, 2 years.
2 years total.
Yeah, it took me about 9 months to write it, and then I edited it, reread it, edited it again, sent it to some people, they read it, wrote edits, and then I edited it again, sent it in, won that award, and then got it professionally edited, and then edited it one more time. So that is the general process of writing a book, if anybody wants to know.
Awesome, man. That's really very cool. So this is definitely something for like sci-fi / humor lovers out there.
It's very fantasy. It's
fantasy. Yeah.
They travel the countryside, go around the United States, encounter a lot of interesting creatures. I had a really big interest in telling creatures we know in a different way, and exploring types of creatures that are super interesting but nobody ever really talks about. Drop bears is one thing I'll say. You can look that up on Wikipedia. Those are in it, and they're awesome, and no one ever talks about them. So I wanted to give them some love. I would say it's a good summer read. It's a good time. You're out of school.
You're at the beach.
Yeah, sit down. It's 295 pages.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's almost 300 pages. You could burn through
Yeah,
that
you can burn
in
through
a couple hours.
I've read it like 14 times, and I still like it. So
it would suck if you ended up hating it in the end. And you're like, no.
There was
I'm
a
not even
time where I was
publishing
like,
this.
I don't want to read this ever again. But and then like I got my proof sent to me, and I made sure to read the whole proof before I hit the big red button. And towards the end, I was like, man, this is pretty good. So
that's awesome.
So yeah.
That's awesome. So when are you gonna have you started writing up the second one yet, or is that yet to come?
The second one's complete. I've already written the entire second book.
Wow.
I don't have the money to get it edited.
Okay. So this is just you basically trying to get the funding to get the second one out, basically.
Yeah. It cost me. This one cost me about $1,500 to get professionally edited. Yeah, big number. And I'm sure there's probably cheaper ways to do it out there, but I wanted to go with somebody that I could trust and that...
that you knew you were getting a good product.
You gotta be really careful about who you get to edit your book. And that's kind of my goal in this experience, is to try and make enough that I can keep telling this story that means so much to me, and these characters that I started in 2009, so these characters have been a part of my life for such a long time. And it was never writing a story. It kind of became, after like the first 2 chapters of writing the first book, it totally became just watching these characters' lives. Like,
that's awesome.
I never was planning what they were doing. They were just doing it, and I was writing it down. So
that's awesome, man. Seriously, I'm really proud of you. I really do hope that you make the cash back to keep pushing this out, man. Because I don't know, man. Sounds like it's something that you love to do, so keep doing it.
Yeah, I do it for you guys. Do it for everybody else. Editor on Elder Geek, write some articles. I should have one coming up soon. If I may.
Oh yeah, what you're working on a video. I'm working on a video. I'm working on, which is I meant to mention this in the beginning. People are either going to be seeing Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Future Soldier, which I kind of doubt because I fired it up and played like 20 minutes of it, and it's just really unoptimized.
Yeah.
The PC version, it's just really unoptimized. I'm probably going to dumb it down a little bit and try it again. But most likely you're going to be seeing a point-and-click adventure called The Dark Eye Chains of Satinav. And you're working on... Do you remember what the name of the game is that you're
Dead
working
Maze, I believe it's called. Or
Dead
End.
Maze.
Sorry, Dead End.
Dead End.
Yeah, I can look it up.
And then we have another one going out. Oh, Justin is working on Quantic Conundrum, and Patrick is... I know, right? And Patrick is working on the gigantic Civ 5 expansion that just came out.
Yeah.
So, just a pile of video reviews coming up from us in the next, hopefully, week or so.
Yeah, and as for me, I should have an article called "Love the Things You Hate" coming out, a short one that just talks about gaming tropes that we all hate but done extremely well in games. I have that review you just talked about, and next Tuesday, we're going to be doing Two Button Panic again, the Elder Geek Retro Game Show. I think me and Shen are going to be hooking up the old SNES and playing some Kirby's All-Stars. So
Nice.
come check that out at 8 o'clock next Tuesday.
Very cool. Trevor, thanks for coming on the show, man.
Thanks
Appreciate
for having
it.
me. Thanks for letting me talk about my book.
Absolutely, everybody out there, it's called The Last Memory. You're going to be finding it under TT Faulkner on Amazon.com. I'll throw up a link for it in the description below. If anybody has any questions or comments, please feel free to send them to info@elder-geek.com. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch TV, YouTube, and pretty much any other channel that we can actually find us on. And last week, like I said, I threw up a bunch of videos. Not too many people actually checked out the covers from eldergeek.com, the actual site. That video, I thought it was pretty cool seeing all the stuff we did since 2009 up there. Or at least all the covers that made it up on there. It's 18 minutes long, that video.
Yeah, I've saved every single one I've ever done. So,
did you?
Yeah, I have a folder just full of screen caps of the website with my covers up. So,
dude, that's pretty cool. I wish I had done it that way, but I just had all the old files still saved on our server, and when we updated the look on the server, I was like, I'm gonna pull these off and use them.
Yeah.
But anyway, Everybody, thanks for listening, and I will hopefully talk to you all tomorrow. And I'm pushing...